Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
This is Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delaze.
We are so excited to be back and talking about one of our favorite stories today, Butterfly.
Yes, Butterfly. This podcast is dedicated to strictly BTS fanfics. We'll be just talking about our different fanfics that we enjoy and love and want to share with you guys.
Yes, we are so excited to get into this. So, guys, bear with us and we're going to get through this.
Absolutely. So, the first story that we're doing, like Lisa had mentioned last week, we were going to be going in order of the fan chant.
And it's about a pop star.
Kalasia, yeah.
She's a pop star. And she's on the same level as BTS. Well, no, not really. She's above.
Yeah, she's got. Yeah, I was gonna say she was kind of like a big deal, like a really.
Yeah, she was already out in America, but everybody knew her globally. And I think BTS was just coming out with Boy in Love. So
I think so. Yeah, I did want to say before we kind of get started into the story, the author of the story, which we found on Wattpad, is at Markita_AAA, and it's spelled MARKITA_AAA. Yeah, we definitely will get right on into it.
You guys check her out. She is actually really good.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good read.
I think to start, I guess Kalasia, what she does is she is touring and she thinks she's finished touring, and her manager breaks it down to her and pretty much tells her that she has one more tour added or one more concert added in South Korea. She ends up meeting one of her favorite boy bands because she's a K-pop fan, and they end up being BTS. Her manager introduces her to BTS as an early birthday present to her. She loves BTS, and so that's how they meet, and she becomes close friends. I think she becomes closer friends with J-Hope, Jungkook, and V first.
Tay.
Yeah, Tay.
Yeah.
And not as close to the other ones as those, but she becomes close to all of them.
So J-Hope, V, and JK are like super big fans of hers.
Yeah, they know more
before. Yeah, they know like everything about her before they even meet, and so that's why they're automatically kind of closer. And initially, when she meets Jimin, Sugar, and Jin and Namjoon, it's just kind of like oh hey, like we've heard of you, but we're not like super stands like they are.
Right. And so she just meets them. They become close, and I think after she does her whole concert and everything, she decides she wants to stay in Korea because now her tour is over.
Right. So after she's done touring, she decides that she needs to take a vacation, and she's going to just stay out there for a couple months and then return back to the States. While she's there, it is her birthday, and she goes wandering around. Well, one of the other surprises that her manager had set up was for BTS to come to her birthday party. But Kalasia's out by herself wandering around the city and ends up getting lost. So Namjoon, I think JK and Jimin, I'll go looking for her, and they find her singing. I think she was doing like the busking.
Yeah, like in Korea they do that a lot.
So she's out there, and they hear her, and then they find her to bring her back to the party. So that's where we notice that Jimin is a little bit. He's trying to break his shell because he was really nervous the first time they met Kalasia, and he's trying to not be like super standoffish. So he tries to brighten up. Everybody else is just enjoying and having a good time.
Right. I would say that I think that this author is really good at portraying the boys.
Yeah, she did a good job.
So when she wrote that about Jimin, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jimin, because he's a little shy too, you know.
Yeah, the way that she portrayed the boys was just, it was really, you could see it, like it was very like realistic to what we think how they are.
Right, but I did not. So I don't care. I will say this. I don't like the way she portrayed JK because I love JK, okay? Like, he's not a baby, he's a full man.
I mean, at the time of the story, though, he was much younger.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really think about that. That's very true. That's very, but still.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have their party and they're enjoying their time. And I think that may have been like it really for that section or for that section for the party.
Right.
After that, they do end up hanging out a couple more times because they do end up becoming really good friends.
Right. They just get closer as time goes by with with the whole crew and everything. And I
Mhm.
think after that, she starts, like, she knows a little bit of Korean, but not a lot of Korean. And she knows more talking, but not a lot of the romanization and the
The
Hangul.
the Hangul.
Right.
Mhm.
So I think Namjoon, that's where he comes in when he starts teaching her how to
Mhm.
do, how to read and do more romanization, how she can see it more. That's how they get
Yeah.
kind of close and involved.
Yeah, so Namjoon is tutoring her and she is, learning to read Hangul and trying to get better at that while she's in Korea. And that's kind of where sparks fly. But they can't, like, each of them doesn't realize that they like each other like that.
Until he
Like,
called, what does he call her? He said something to her that make her say, "Why did he call me that all of a sudden?" I can't even.
he called her Nuna.
Nuna, that's right. He called her
She was like,
Nuna.
why is he calling me
Yeah,
Nuna?
he never called her Nuna, so she was
So
wondering why.
right, and so she asked JKJ Hope and Tay because they're all the closest, and she's like, "Hey guys, so what's the deal? Because homeboy just called me Nuna," and they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
The one thing I will say though, I thought was kind of cool. There's a section when Jimin is talking about Kalasia, and they were like, "Oh, I thought you liked her a lot," blah blah blah, and he's like, I I think he said like
He
I
did
realize I
like her till
don't
he
feel
realized,
that way or
yeah, he realized that Namjoon liked her. That
yeah,
even
and he's like and I don't want to
Namjoon,
yeah, 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 yeah.
he
I thought that
came
was
a long
kind of
time ago
cool.
on that one.
Yeah. I was like, "Okay." He was like, "Yeah, not somebody else likes her more, so
Right,
I'm good." I
right.
was like, "Okay.
Okay,
Come on,
thank
brotherhood."
you for stepping back. Okay,
Right.
yeah, because a
It
lot of,
made for a good story.
right, because a lot of the stories, honey, that I be reading, so they be about to fight over
Oh.
over a girl. I was happy that he kind of just stepped back in this story and let him do his thing.
Right. So they know how they're starting to feel about one another, but they haven't told each other.
Right,
And everybody else has acknowledged that Namjoon really likes her.
right.
And there's a part where Suga and Namjoon are going to get some drinks, or not drinks, but like tea or something during the day, and they meet up to talk about lyrics and help her with writing.
Hmm.
And he ends up walking her home.
He walks her home and like have like doesn't he have like a conversation? Didn't they realize then that they liked each other?
I think so because like I think they were holding hands at that point. I think they were holding hands or they were something around that when he was walking her home.
Right.
But it wasn't
It
it was like they still weren't really sure.
They didn't talk about it until they he
Right.
had to bring her before he left.
So she asked him to get tickets to their concert
That's
because they
right.
were going to be having a concert in Dallas or somewhere near Dallas,
Yeah.
and she was from there. So he's like, "I got you," and he brought her 2 tickets.
Right. Because she was going home for her grandma's hip surgery
Hip surgery, yeah,
and her dad's birthday as well.
and her dad's birthday. Yep.
Hmm.
So he brought those tickets to her, and then they, so fast forward to them getting to Texas. They wanted to stay with her,
Hmm. And she
which
had
I'm
a
thinking
nice house too, girl.
super nice house. Which that's another thing I really like. Something I've noticed about these fanfics is that the ones that include pictures of people's outfits might be or what the house may look or whatever. I really enjoy
Me
those
too.
because
It
it gives
brings
me more of a
the story out.
visual.
Oh yes, it brings the story out. It lets us see. Because I'm like, whoever this Arthur is, she like putting these pictures together, and they not the same person, of course, but they so close you wouldn't. You would,
No, that's true.
yeah. And
That's
I'm like, who
true.
is this? Like, I want to know who this real girl is.
I know, because she's
She's
gorgeous. Like,
really
all of them are
pretty. I'm like, is
gorgeous.
she famous? Why do I not know her? Because the pictures you
Right.
take, they look like famous pictures.
Yeah, and the thing, I love it. I really do. It helps me visualize, even though the way that she writes is really, it's very clear and easy to understand, and
Right.
it's very descriptive. Still seeing the pictures helps
Oh yeah.
to make the picture in my mind so that I'm not having to make it up on my own. Because if you leave me to my own devices, I mean, it can be all bad.
It's funny because you and I, we have like the same brain, so he's like, we're
Exactly.
visualizing everything, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
So it's still nice to
Girl.
add that extra, so you don't have to think that hard.
Exactly. And I love that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So they get to her house when they see how nice it is.
Uh-huh.
Namjoon ends up having the room by himself in her house. She has, what was it, 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths,
Yeah.
I think that they said.
Or
I don't know why that
yeah,
stuck out of my head, but
right. I don't know how many. It's a lot of bedrooms. It's a very nice.
yeah, it was only enough. It was enough where each of them had to share a room except one person.
Right.
So, and Namjoon had his own room. In his head, he was like, "This is the time when I'm gonna tell her ass that I like her."
Right.
And she was like, "He's gonna have to work for this."
Right. She made him. She made him get the room all the way across the house.
Right. So she he ends up coming to her room, right?
I think they met
And
outside. Didn't they meet outside?
they did. I know they eventually did go outside, but I couldn't remember if he went to her room first. I feel like,
I thought they just met.
I don't know. Maybe they met outside.
I
So they're outside chatting it up.
I think
He's
that's when they realized that they were liking each other and then start really telling each other that they liked them. And that's when they had the first kiss.
right, right. That is.
But
And
it didn't go further than that, but he was filling her up a little bit.
yeah, it didn't go much further, and she kept telling him soon.
Soon. That was their thing.
Yeah. So that's the moment where they have discovered now that they are feeling each other, that they want each other, and that was kind of that.
Right.
I know with her in the story when they finally do go to the concert, because they go to the concert the next day, she takes her sister with her,
Which
and
I will say, let me just interject. Her family is a little ratchet, okay?
I
I
they're like
love
a
it though.
civilized ratchet. Like
They are a little ratchet, but I love them.
her her it's her older sister, man. That older
And the
sister
mama.
and the mama. The mama is too, that mama is like my mom. Like that's how we talk. I'm not even kidding.
Right.
Exactly like that.
But I love it though.
Yeah, I loved
Still,
it. Her sister though irritated me a little bit, but we'll get to that.
right, right, right.
Her older sister, I'll say. But she takes her younger sister with her to the concert. They go backstage to meet up with BTS again, and her sister's pretty much like, you know, I forgot. Her sister got to the house early so that she could meet Namjoon before the concert because she wanted to see who this person was.
Right, because they were at the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she got to meet
Yep.
B and Jungkook and all them.
Yep. She met all the rest of the members as well. Yep. The concert happens. So there is not a lot, but there is some smut in this story,
Mhm.
which I lived for.
Yes, I love
I'm a smut whore, so
all of that. If you don't like smut, these are not some of the stories you may want to read.
yeah, the first couple episodes are going to be stories that include smut.
Right. But the author
So
warns you though. It's like she'll say mature content at the
right,
beginning
right.
of the chapter.
Actually, those times haven't happened yet because they haven't actually done it yet. They've just like done little things
Yeah,
here and
they like
there.
fill each other up and stuff or talk
Yeah,
dirty, but that's about it.
yeah, that's really it.
Mhm.
You know, stuff happens. Um,
I think she doesn't she stay there for a while though, even after the
at the
concert,
concert,
like in America for a while,
yeah, she's out there for a bit.
and then like they're kind of texting back and forth, her and June.
Right. They're FaceTiming a lot.
Right. And then what does he say to her that she's like, oh my God, like she's telling her sister, come and look at this. What was it? Oh, he said he missed her. Oh,
Oh, that was before they got there. That's before they
oh,
got to Dallas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He said he missed her and he said something else.
by her
And
and
she
not
was
always
like,
PG.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yep. And she was like, yeah, girl, he likes you. And she had this, that's what she was like, look, I'm going to tell him and I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And he
Yeah.
was like, he had other plans because he was tired of waiting and he wanted to let her know how he felt.
Right. But this is not like her because most of the time, from how the book is written, she's actually she's not shy.
Right.
But with him, she's more shy about
Right.
doing things.
And yeah, because typically they were saying that she said she really liked to be in control.
Right.
She does end up going back to Korea though, because remember she was going to finish writing her album.
Yeah. Yeah. She start writing again in her album.
She gets back. Okay, now I remember. She gets back to Korea at a point
Mm-hmm.
and she hangs out with Yoongi, Jimin, and Jin separately because she wants to get closer to them because she is a lot closer with the other boys.
Right. Right. Right.
So I do remember that part happens, but what I can't remember is I remember she was her new album and her and Namjoon had got into it because she was supposed to be on vacation and she had been like so pressed over this album.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was later. I can't remember the
Yeah, but
time
remember she
frame.
started getting writer's block and then like
Oh yeah, but she was still in the States when that happened, right?
right, she was getting writer's block, and that's before Namjoon even. That's what I was thinking. She stayed there for a while because he came back to surprise her. Remember on his birthday.
That's right, because she had missed JK's birthday.
Right, so he surprised her in the middle of the night and was like, "You're not gonna answer the door for me?"
Right.
Yeah, and then she goes and answer the door for him. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And that's when she was like, "You want to write? Let's write a song together." And she asked him to go to the studio with him as well, right?
Right, right. Yeah, that's right. Because he was going to be there for 5 days.
Yeah.
And she goes to the studio, and that's where that guy Aiden is, which I did not like
I
him
did not like.
when the story started. I was like, Aiden, nope, he's trouble.
However, I wish you would have incorporated a picture because I bet you Ada is fine too, girl. I mean, he had green eyes, and then he was like Chinese and what was he?
Cuban.
And Cuban. I'm like, what kind of mix?
Yeah. He did. He sounded fine.
Yeah. So, but Namjoon
Um,
knew. I think Kalasia did not know that he liked her, but Namjoon peeped game really fast.
right. He was like, "Oh yeah, he likes you," and I'm not tripping.
Yeah, he
He
wasn't
was
pressed
so
about it.
secure. Yeah, he was like, "I'm not pressed. Like, it's fine. I know what I got. You're mine. It's
Right.
cool. Like, we're good."
Right. And like she was worried about it. He was like, she didn't want to like even work with him anymore. He was like, you got your album to work about to worry about. We're not gonna worry about him. And when she
Right.
was like, oh my God, like he's for me. Like he's not jealous or anything.
And so he goes up to the studio with her. I guess the actual music producer is named Titan.
Yeah.
And then they have Aiden, who's like the sound engineer or something like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so she brings Namjoon and she introduces him as her friend,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not going public with their relationship just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of size each other up, even though Namjoon's really he's not pressed about it. But Aiden's like, yeah, okay, who is this guy? Because they look at each other, giving each other googly eyes.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, why didn't she just say it was her boyfriend? But I guess, like you said, she hadn't been public yet.
right, right, right. Because they were trying to keep that thing on the low for as long as they could.
Right, because even after Namjoon left, he was like talking junk. And she was like, I don't like you talking junk about my friends.
Right. After that, he leaves. He goes back to South Korea. I think this is during the time where they're getting ready for a comeback or something like that. I'm trying to think
They
what
was getting
else.
ready for a Red Bullet.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Wasn't it?
okay.
Wasn't it? I think
I don't
Red
know.
Bullet.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, that's a Boy in Love, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they were getting ready for tour.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, they were getting ready for the tour. He goes back. She stays to get everything kind of ready. The song that she was working on with Namjoon, she's waiting to record until she gets back to South Korea so that she can record it with him.
Yeah.
Fast forward, fast forward.
And like after that, like doesn't Namjoon want them to go public really fast?
Yeah, so he wants them to go public after like a couple months.
Yeah, it was
And
like a
she's
month.
like,
She's like, slow
y-
down.
right. She's like, hey man, we can just wait. Like, she's like, it hasn't even been 6 months yet. And I thought it would be at least 6 to 8 months to a year before we told anybody. He's
Right.
like, nope, I want the world to know.
Right, but you have to remember that she's way more perfect. She's been in the game way longer than he has.
Right,
And also,
right,
you know that the Korean fans are way more brutal than the American fans.
right. Because she was really concerned about how they would judge her because, like we mentioned before in the beginning, Kalasia is black. So, you know, she was like, I don't want to have to deal with the bull. I'm
Yeah,
just not ready.
right.
Something that I forgot to mention this, I mean, it comes in later, but I just wanted to mention it now. The author did a really good job explaining like how famous and how wealthy Kalasia was, because there's a part in the story where she's talking about flying and she's like, I'm just gonna buy a private jet. And he's like, how much is that? She's like $7 million. $70 million. And he was like, what?
I remember that part. She was like,
She's like, yeah, that's nothing.
I'm worth 300 million. What are you talking about?
Right. He was like, oh, that's right. Like, yeah, she's not here for your money, bro.
Right, but you know what? She was really incredibly humble. And also her family
Super.
was too, because in this story, when she goes back to the family, they still live in her childhood home.
Right, 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 right.
She didn't get them a big mansion after she got that $300 million.
Exactly. She made sure to just keep it chill.
Yeah.
Oh, some other characters I don't think we've maybe mentioned was she does have her manager who's like a second mom, I guess you could say, to her.
Mm-hmm.
She has her assistant while she's in South Korea that she ends up kind of becoming friends with, even though they don't mention them like a lot. Well, the manager they do, but the assistant not as much.
Yeah.
But that assistant, and not the assistant. I just lost my train of thought.
It's
Just
like
ignore me.
isn't his like her manager in Korea? Like she has a different manager in Korea.
Yeah, she has one that's in Korea. Well, because the one that set up her birthday party and all that, she was in Korea with her initially,
Right.
but then she left to go back to the States.
Right. And that's why she decided to stay there longer.
Right. So she does eventually get back to Korea. They do record the song together, and and I think by this point her album is probably finished. And she tells Namjoon, so she's supposed to be still taking her vacation, and she tells Namjoon, "Hey, now that this album's finished, I gotta go back to the States for promotions, and I'm leaving like next week or something like that."
Yes. And then
And he's like,
he like
"Go ahead."
goes off on her. Like
Yeah,
he don't want her to leave. She still had 2 months that she was
and she didn't have a vacation.
right. She spent her time, or like he said, she spent her time obsessing over her album.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So he's pissed.
right.
She's pissed.
Yeah.
They don't talk to each other. She calls her family, her sister, I think sister or mom,
Yeah.
and they pretty much end up talking to her and letting her know like to see his side. He talks to the boys. They kind of tell him you need to apologize or whatever.
Yeah.
They
Because he
make
was
up.
ultimately right, but how he delivered it was wrong.
Right, his delivery was not good.
Yeah. So after that, she just decided to, after the argument, they didn't talk for a couple days and they both had time to think about it. She decided that she was just going to end up staying instead of leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So she spent her last 2 months in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the 2 months,
She ends up going back and they start doing their promotions for her new album. She's coming up with the BTS helps her with her like the name of it, the concept, how she should put out the songs. She her like her concept art for the album, all that. And then she starts doing promotions for that, not conferences, interviews, photo shoots, all that good stuff.
right.
In the meantime, she just talks to Namjoon via FaceTime. Also, the rest of the boys. I was gonna say her album release party happens too. I'm missing some award shows in there, but we're just gonna do the album release party.
Right. We don't have to go verbatim.
Yeah. So she does the album release party. Namjoon's supposed to come, but he tells her he can't make it because I think they're also promoting and touring, right?
Yeah, but she
So
wants
he does.
to come, and she gets to the party. And she wasn't really excited about the party because she wanted Namjoon to be
Right.
on her way out the door of her own party. She sees Namjoon.
And she was kind of bratty to him.
Yeah, she was. She was real, and he was just like, "I can't come. I got to do such." Such. She was really like, "No, but it's about me."
Right. And even when he got there, she was he was said something to her. She was like, "Oh, I guess da da da," like kind of having an attitude, and
Yeah.
he just turned around to walk away. Like, girl, I just flew 14 freaking hours to see
Right.
you, and you really gonna give me this?
Right. Exactly. I would have been like that too.
Mm-hmm.
While they were out there, before they was getting in that car, wasn't it the paparazzi took the picture?
Yeah. So they kissed, and as they were kissing, the paparazzi took a picture. She shoved his hat down over his face and kind of tossed him in the car. Yeah, so just when you thought it was safe, and because their relationship is still private, nobody knows that they're together. The news comes out, but nobody knows it's him, and they kind of keep that hidden for a while.
And he was looking like a snack in that picture.
Right, the way that all black outfit.
Yes. Oh my
Girl.
honey, I live for Namjoon with the long jacket.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, the pictures, I swear, the pictures and books. You want to keep me and Lisa happy? Throw some pictures in your stories.
Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good.
It's
It's worth it
seriously.
because it brings it to life. Like you can see
It does. Especially when they throw the gifts in there and it shows you like an expression and then the expression explains a part of the story. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Yes. I don't even want to talk about JK right now because I'm not thinking about that.
Girl.
We'll
Girl.
for another time. But the gifts are crazy.
Yes, they are. They make the stories that much more great.
Yes.
But so they kind of dodge that whole bullet with them discovering who Namjoon is. They kind of go around
I think they
a
know
lot.
that she's in a relationship, but they don't know who it is.
No, I don't even think they know she's in a relationship at that point.
Well, they caught her kissing in the picture.
Oh, was it that? What did they? Did
Like
she say that she?
they were saying that.
Oh yeah. You're right.
With
You're right.
somebody else, but they didn't see who he was.
Yep, you're right.
It's
Right.
like not like the army, honey. Because if this was real army, they would have been.
They would have been known.
They would have been found out because they really went a long time.
They did.
People not knowing.
Right. And it wasn't until there was like some kind of big display of affection that showed who it was. Right. So there's a part where they go on vacation together. I'm like, unless you want to talk about something before that, because I'm about to skip way forward.
No, only part that I was thinking about it was the part where they got into that huge fight, and it was over something so stupid. I don't even remember. I think it was a stupid fight about her. Like she wanted to come and like go see him, and he was like, "What are you talking about? We both have full schedules. You cannot come and see me." And she was like being petty about it. And she was like, well, you know what? I don't want to see you anyway. And they didn't talk for a couple of days after that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't talk for a couple of days after that because he was like trying to teach her a lesson. Right. And he wouldn't answer the phone for her when she kept calling him. And all he would do is message her that night because she had that award show. And he said, good luck. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but he did tell her he loved her.
Right.
And then the only way, like, she knew to show the affection was by going on Twitter and saying, I don't know, I know you're still mad at me, but whatever, I love you, whatever, RM. Pound RM. Or hashtag RM, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when the fans start picking it up.
Right. Even though, had this been real life, they'd have been like, oh, she's with RM. Right. They were like, I don't know who this RM character is, but
they would have Army would have picked that up a long time ago, just for the simple fact that they, in the beginning of the story, when she first went to Korea, that they were They were recording stuff together.
Oh yeah. And he had helped her record the story of this. I mean, the not recording. They saw each other multiple times and
Right. Yeah.
were hanging out.
And I would have been like, why is she around so much? What's going who is she dating? Which one is talking to her?
Right. Before we get to that, they go on vacation
Mhm.
and they go to vacation to like South Africa, I believe. And they have it's like their 1 year anniversary. And Namjoon has a ring, and it's supposed to be a promise ring, but he actually proposes to her,
Right.
and she says yes. So now that's her fiance. So people not only know they don't know that that's her whole fiance at this point.
Right.
So they do end up deciding that they want to tell the friends and family all at the same time. By now they've all met and everything like that. So they get everything set. The fight. Go ahead and go into the fight.
To a fight over something so stupid. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was
Her smoking weed.
I don't was that the fight?
The fight started because she was getting weed from Aiden,
Oh,
and Aiden, he was pissed because he's like, you don't trust me, like you have or not you don't trust me, but you didn't even tell me what was going on with you, and you felt you could tell him, and you were getting weed from him to calm all that, and he felt some type of way.
right. And he wasn't even mad that she was smoking weed. I mean, he wasn't
Yeah,
really mad that she was smoking weed. He was just mad at the fact that she was smoking weed. She didn't even think about like how this would affect them.
right, their careers and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. But
Like
they got into
she
that
he
huge fight. They didn't talk for like days.
yeah, it was a while. And then
And then she was going to the awards show.
and BTS is there to get their social artist award, and I like that they include like real life events into the story. I think it brings it like it kind of makes it seem a little bit more believable.
Right.
So much so that I have to remind myself that this is just a story.
Right, right. But it makes it good though.
It does. It
It
makes
makes
it
you
really
feel
good.
like you're like, oh, I remember that. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when this
Mm-hmm.
happened. So it make you feel like a little bit like you were kind of involved, but not really.
Not right.
Yeah.
So they she's at the award, so she presents them for the award for the best social art or top social artist, and then she's thinking about it in her head. She's like, I messed up, I need to make this right. So she wins the award for best album or song of the year or something like that. And when she's doing her acceptance speech, she asked Namjoon to be her husband again, because when they had gotten to their last fight, she had taken her ring off and given it back to him before he was heading back to Korea.
Uh-huh.
Or I think or Japan. He was going somewhere. And so she had given him the ring back. So she had asked him to be her husband because she had a ring that she was going to give to him. He said yes, and he asked her to be his wife again, and she said yes. She said yes, so he gave her the ring back, and they were like as happy as they wanted to be.
Right. But we didn't mention the part where when they got engaged, they invited their family to go to Mexico together.
Yeah,
And her dad was like, she's pregnant.
right. She's like, Dad, I'm definitely not pregnant.
Right,
Need you to
right.
chill.
Then some army somewhere heard that and then blasted it everywhere. So everybody in the media thinks that she's pregnant. And that's when the whole media really start saying, okay, she's with RM.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was like their first scandal.
Yeah.
Because they had three. They had the pregnancy one, or the picture one, the pregnancy one, and then the fight.
Uh-huh.
That was those were like those three that happened.
That's
I mean, that was
the gist.
pretty much
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Because
pretty much what happened in the story.
we're not gonna like go word from word. You guys really need to go back and read this. It's so good.
There's a lot of details that we didn't go into. There's a lot of, if you're into smut that you missed out on because we just didn't talk about it.
Yes.
Little nuances and things that the author includes in the story that you guys should probably all read if you really get into fanfics. I know I've mentioned this before, but I had not been into fanfics, and Lisa got me into them. So, and I can't stop. So
Even now.
yeah, I'm in it. I'm in it completely. Um, so I did. I did. There is parts of the story that the author included at the end of it that I wanted to include. It was just facts about the story, and so I just wanted to kind of bring those up to you all. One of the things was that Kalasia was supposed to end up with Jimin, so the story was supposed to be about her and Jimin finding love. But as time kind of went on between the story, between how things were going and how the author had felt and some input for another reader, the author decided to change it to be a Jimin story. Initially, it was supposed to be smut free, but the author decided to change that. She also mentioned that Kalasia wasn't supposed to be famous or a singer, but she did decide to make her famous because she had never read a K-pop fanfic like that.
Right. Which there
So
are not a lot out there like that.
there's not.
Read that I have seen. So it was kind of different from the rest of the stories that we read.
Right. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
I also like
Um,
that the author, in the end of every chapter, she always asks a question to her reader. And
mm-hmm.
her readers respond. So that's pretty cool too.
I like that. And she did something too I thought was cool. A lot of the characters, like names, are from people she knows in her life or like family members.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so or they're like close. Like she said her mom's name is Diana, and that's where Kalasia's mom name came from, which is Dina.
Oh,
And her dad's name is Mark, and the dad's name in the story is Marcus.
right.
Yeah, so it was like people she kind of knew, or
Mm-hmm.
Did you get something from the author that you wanted to share?
I did let her know that we were reading her story and we were going to talk about it. So she's excited about it and we were excited about it. So,
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will be doing more, and the next story will be a Jen story.
yeah,
So,
I'm excited about Jen because it's really not a
yes.
lot of Jen stories. He's really underrated.
Right.
Uh,
They kind of there's not a lot that we found so far. Not well, there's not a lot of long ones. I
yeah,
found some, but they're super short.
yeah, they're like 5
Most of the
chapters.
stories that we have been reading are
Long. But hopefully, we'll talk about this Jen story next week, and I'll post it on our Instagram so you guys can read along if you would like to. And we'll talk about it next week.
all right, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.